Tonight, a brutal attack by two assailants with bricks is caught on camera. Was the attack politically motivated? A local pilot says it's no surprise that the Eastern Caribbean has been downgraded by the FAA for not complying with international aviation safety standards. And the National Council on Public Transportation appeals for continued patience from drivers who say they have waited long enough under dire circumstances for the promised fuel rebate. The details are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Wednesday, the 13th of May, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We're on Flow Channel 117. The broadcast is also being simulcast on Kiss FM, on our Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and on our Facebook page. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. A police investigation is underway into a brutal beatdown that took place at Green Mountain Dennery on Sunday. Video of the incident has hit social media. Two males can be seen chasing another male who can be seen trying to seek refuge in a parked car. His assailants land some knockout blows and can be seen repeatedly slamming bricks onto the male victim's head, even after his collapse onto the ground. Dennery South MP and Sports Minister Edmund Estefan has confirmed that the attack took place on his premises and that the victim is a friend to him. Estefan handed over video of the incident to the police and awaits the outcome of the investigation. There have been unconfirmed reports that the motive behind the attack may be political. The assailants made a getaway and are at large at present. The victim, who was transported to the Dennery Hospital, was left nursing injuries to his head and face. Fire Officer Stacey Charles told us about the fire service's response to the incident.
At approximately 2:50 p.m. on Sunday, May 10th, the personnel at the Dennery Fire Station responded to a call at Green Mountain Dennery. Information received indicated that an individual was physically assaulted. The responding crew found one male appearing in his 40s lying on his stomach on the ground with what appeared to be puncture wounds to his head. Upon examination, emergency personnel found that the patient had two puncture wounds to the back of his head and one above his left eye. His wounds were treated and he was transported to the Dennery Hospital for further medical treatment.
The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, has announced that the OECS, by way of the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, ECA, has been assigned a Category 2 safety rating because it does not comply with International Civil Aviation Organization safety standards under the FAA's International Aviation Safety Assessment Program. A local aircraft pilot says he is not at all surprised by the downgrading and says ECA has been problematic for a long time. Former Aviation Minister Alva Baptiste has also chimed in on the matter, stating that collaboration is required to reverse the downgrade. In a recent statement by the Federal Aviation Administration, it was announced that the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, does not comply with the safety standards of the International Civil Aviation Organization, which is why it has been lowered to the rating of Category 2. The Category 2 rating covers St. Lucia, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, ECA, provides aviation safety oversight for OECS members, and so the deficiencies are on its part. The news of the downgrade has come as no surprise to aircraft pilot and mechanic Sylvanus Ernest, who says ECA has been an issue for some time.
It was just a matter of time. A few of us have been talking about what is happening with the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, and nobody pays any attention to what we're saying, you know. But it was just a matter of time because we think that the authority, the Civil Aviation Authority in Antigua, needs some help. They need to change a whole lot of stuff in there, or else we'll just see that thing would continue going on. the downgrading would just continue, I can tell you that.
The St. Lucia Labour Party, through former Civil Aviation Minister Alva Baptiste, has issued a statement on the matter. The SLP says Prime Minister Chasney and his Minister for Civil Aviation, Guy Joseph, should desist from their, quote, historically brash and belligerent approach to ECA and adopt a more constructive and conciliatory tone for the timely resolution of this matter, end quote. Ernest, for his part, says all governments of the region need to intervene immediately to address what he says has been a consistent downward spiral on ECA's part.
I mean, for every year we can see the path that the Civil Aviation Authority is taking is a down turn. But nobody pays any attention to when we talk about it. So that's just what's going on. And I can guarantee you, if the governments don't get involved in what's going on in Antigua, it'll get worse than it is. That's why we only have one airline in the region. We have Liat. We can't get another airline in any of the other islands apart from St. Vincent and Antigua.
The SLP says St. Lucia should play a pivotal role in returning ECA to Category 1 status. It advises that instead of seeking refuge in another civil aviation authority, the government of St. Lucia should work cooperatively with other OECS member states to eliminate the identified deficiencies and bring ECA to compliance. Health officials have had to make a public appeal for people at the community level to adhere to COVID-19 protocols after observing a lack of compliance. The life-saving measures of social distancing and wearing a mask or scarf are said to be shunned within communities due to a lack of comfort. The Department of Health and Wellness is imploring everyone to cooperate during the current phased reopening of the country, which commenced on Monday, the 13th of April. The department makes an urgent plea to community members to adhere to the recommended 6 feet physical distancing measures and the use of a face mask or scarf. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belma George notes that while these measures may be challenging for some and very different from what they know to be normal within their communities, their benefits in preventing the local transmission of COVID-19 surpass any inconvenience.
We do not see compliance at the level of the smaller communities. St. Lucia is still in a critical position in our response to COVID-19. To this end, we wish to implore the public to adhere to those measures. By maintaining the recommended 6-foot distance, you reduce the likelihood of getting the infection or spreading the virus when people around you may cough or sneeze or make physical contact. The face mask or scarf should be used for source control by reducing the potential and the exposure risk from an infected person during the pre-symptomatic period.
For face masks to be effective in reducing infection, they must be used properly.
Some basic guidelines include: ensure the mask is clean before use, wash hands with soap and water or alcohol-based hand sanitizer before touching the mask, and the mask should be held by the ties or the loops only. These measures, if adhered to by each and every individual, shall significantly slow down the spread of COVID-19.
Dr. Belma George underscores that on its own, the virus is unable to spread. Rather, people spread the virus. As such, by remaining home and avoiding mass crowd activities, the potential of an outbreak of COVID-19 is significantly reduced. The public is also advised to continue standard recommendations to prevent the spread of infection. These include regular hand washing with soap and water, or using alcohol-based hand sanitizer where soap and water is not available, covering your mouth and nose with disposable tissues or clothing when coughing and sneezing, avoiding close contact with anyone showing symptoms of respiratory illness such as coughing and sneezing. Members of the public aired their views on the Health Ministry's observation of non-compliance on the part of small communities when it comes to wearing masks and maintaining the 6 feet distance protocol.
The Chief Medical Officer has indicated that many people are not adhering to the protocol of wearing a mask when out in public. Hot 7 asked the public to help us understand why persons would blatantly disregard the rules. Here's what you had to say.
Yes, it is for our own safety that we should wear the mask. Now, the protocol is supposed to start from the top. the Ministry of Health have a 30-seater, which I saw with my eyes. When I counted the people that was on board, they had it full to the capacity and only 5 persons who had masks on their faces. So it's supposed to start from the top. It is a very good thing that we should wear the mask. Right here where we are there, on the taxi stand, there are taxi drivers that are not adhering to the protocol. One in particular refused to wear masks, and I'm encouraging people, when you come and you see that particular taxi driver does not have a mask, do not hire him. And the rest that are wearing the mask, if they are passengers that refuse to wear the mask when they come on the vehicle, yes, things tight, but at the same time, advise them to wear the mask. Because I think that is a very... Do you know how many people are sneezing down already for the day? Do you know how many that cough? Do you know what disease that's in the air? They have to wear the mask, just wear it. If you're at your home and you don't feel like... Now, I believe that the law and the police should look into the traffic, those that are transporting people, whether it's taxi or minibus, even private vehicle, as long as you have 1 or 2 persons on board, they're supposed to check you out, pull you up, and wear your mask.
I guess most St. not comfortable wearing the mask. They feel safe since we don't have as many cases on our shores and we don't have any deaths. So I guess that's why they're not wearing the mask. Yeah, compared to the other countries who has large number of persons who died as a result of COVID-19. So yeah, that's what I have to say.
Masla lemwe mete si yon moun kani avec une virus là moi passage ni passe moi ni mas moi mais si lui même l'autre moun nan ni mas là il va pas joindre rien con virus so virus là pour protéger tous les départements nous tout à dans même bail là so moi ka voudre tout monde mettez mas là il va sauver la vie tous les deux sides là so moun just check your weather you ka feel you pas mêler en compagnie ka dit comme ça c'est Jean Blanc qui fait virus là, so il n'y a pas nous. Là, on a bas là, il dit ça là, il a mangé là. Il dit, moi, il va mettre masque, depuis il a commencé, il va mettre. So, il va mettre ça. Mais si moi, passer pour moi, je ne suis pas masque. So, masque là nécessaire pour mon servir. Moi, je dis ça avec toutes les gens ici, mettez masque là, servir masque là. Virus là, c'est un bail qui a passé qu'on vent. Dès lors qu'on brûle, et bien bouche ouverte ou amassée. C'est nécessaire pour tout le monde de mettre masque. Toutes les gens ici, jeunes qu'on vieux, petits qu'on grand, jeunes qu'on apporte comme maturité, mettez masque là, il est nécessaire.
Well, what I could say to myself, the reason why the people of St. Lucia are not wearing a mask because they want to kill all St. Lucian like us.
The protocols set by the officials are for the safekeeping of the general public. Members of the public are thus urged to follow all protocols. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
Second Vice President of the NCOPT, Michael Flood, is calling on drivers and minibus owners who are members of the council to bear a little more patience. He says the NCOPT is in continuous dialogue with the government, and when there is adequate information on when the rebate will be given, the associations will be made aware. Irate drivers spoke to Hot 7 TV on Tuesday, calling for the payout to be fast-tracked. Genevieve Gonzague reports.
Many minibus owners and bus drivers are becoming irate, waiting for word from the National Council on Public Transportation when it comes to the rebate they are entitled to. Second Vice President of the NCOPT, Michael Flood, however, is asking drivers and bus owners to exercise a little more patience and says negotiations with the government continue.
Whilst talks are progressing slowly, but talks are ongoing, and I want people to understand why slowly. Of course, we are facing a pandemic, and the government has to navigate, whatever they're doing with soft hands. I honestly believe that things should have been much further, but then again, because of what we're faced with, I understand it's not. We cannot meet with the powers that be when we want. So we have called on the public transport operators to be a little patient. I know the patients are running thin. I know they are desperate.
Flood says While the council understands the drivers need to be taken care of, the NCOPT also understands that the country is facing unprecedented times and processes may be a bit delayed. However, he says the negotiations may be approaching its final stages.
Just last month, okay, the government asked public servants to take part salary and part bonds. And for government to now, for us to put pressure on government to dish out all our monies to us now, I think it will be unbecoming of the council. Whilst, of course, our drivers and operators need to be taken care of, we need to think of the country like we've done in the past. And I do not think it will take us, much longer before we get some kind of finality to it.
The second vice president says when information is readily available, then all members being represented by the council will be made aware, and urges drivers and minibus owners to remain vigilant for new information coming out through the press and minibus associations. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, the tourism minister tells the Canadian market to expect big news on Friday about St. Lucia's tourism reopening. The European Union promises that it will have a summer tourist season as it relaxes travel restrictions. And farmers speak out on the water crisis that is further crippling the sector amid a partial shutdown. The details of these stories and more coming up after this break.